Everyone. Thanks for tuning into our Scale to Zero show. With this podcast, our goal is to get your security questions answered from experts in the security space and build a community. Well, for today's episode, we have Gary Dylina with us. Gary is the Director of Security Engineering at Narvar. Prior to Narvar, he was the Director of Information Security at Pantheon Platform. Gary, thank you so much for joining with me today.
It's my pleasure.
All right. So let's get to the first question. So the first question is we are launching a new consumer facing capability. From a security standpoint, how should we prepare for such a large scale event?
So you ought to profile the new feature to determine capacity requirements and provision capacity for expected load with an appropriate margin for safety. Then make a test plan for how you will respond when the demand exceeds expectation by 2x and 10x. So important to make the plan and test it in advance. Then scan the application for vulnerabilities and address those in advance of the release. And engage a skilled team of testers to perform an application security review or penetration test, and close out any known issues prior to release would be my recommendation.
Okay, makes sense. So the second question is our sales team is pushing us to get a SOC 2 certification. Do you think that is enough from a security standpoint?
Sales, they, they will ask, right? They want tools that they can use to accelerate closing deals. Customers need to have confidence they can trust providers to have security posture that's equal to or better than their own. SOC 2 audit reports and ISO 27001 certificates are great tools for helping to foster that confidence. But we need to meet customers where they are. Some customers will review a report and be satisfied. Others will want more information to develop an informed opinion about your security posture. You need to be prepared to engage in that process if you want to land business.
Okay, makes sense. So the next question, what are the five key questions I should consider before setting up my IAM?
IAM. Uh, so, what? Who needs access and to what would be one question, and then how many roles are enough, right? So you want to figure out how to bucket your users into groups that are logical collections that have the same access needs in order to be able to reduce the demand for individual access assignment um, activities.
Okay,
Consider how you handle onboarding, offboarding, and role changes, right? Those sort of moves, adds, and changes. Um, Figure out how you will validate the access and review it periodically, and then figure out how you're going to measure success for that particular IAM deployment.
okay, fair. So next question is, we are a company of 100 engineers. What steps would you recommend to ensure that our IAM assignments are valid and they follow the least privilege principle?
So um, I would recommend leveraging single sign-on and multi-factor authentication wherever possible. As discussed earlier, implement role-based access controls for granting access. Establish a periodic review process that detects whether access has been expanded or otherwise is inappropriate. Automate that review process to the degree that you can, and increase the frequency over time as possible. And then would propose that establishing key performance indicators for effectiveness of your system would be recommended. And you would look at things like new member onboarding time, the number of ad hoc privilege change requests, meaning like whether you got it right in the beginning, whether there's like frequently you're out of alignment, especially during reviews. The number of excess or unused rights that are detected during reviews, and the number of exceptions during reviews, whether people have access that they shouldn't, or if joiners or leavers remain in the system after they're gone. So using that information to feed back into the system whether or not it's effective.
Okay. So KPIs is a very good suggestion because most of the times we don't have KPIs or we don't think about KPIs, right, when setting up IAM and following the least privilege. So that's a good one.
Thank you.
The last question. For a health tech startup, what is the right time to hire the first security team member and why do you think that?
Well, the right time is probably 6 months prior to when you actually make that hire. a, a, a goal of every hire should be to augment the existing team with needed capability. The correct time to hire the first security focused teammate depends on strengths of the other team members. Every startup, especially a health tech startup, needs to do the following things: like identify appropriate technical controls frameworks, implement those controls and verify their effectiveness, organize a third party audit readiness assessment, conduct one or more compliance audits, and then prepare to demonstrate security competence during the sales process. If the existing team can do that work, they have the expertise and bandwidth to address those issues, then it might be possible to delay the hiring of a dedicated security person. But the risk is that delaying the start of that work can be costly if the result is a significant gap in controls. So the right time actually depends on the team and their existing capabilities.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. All right. So now let's move on to the rapid fire section. Is there a member of the animal kingdom that you most identify with?
So, so identify with the capybara for its reputation for being kind to others.
Nice. What is one of the myths about cybersecurity?
That that certification or passing an audit actually results in good security. That those certification and audits should be a result of having, like, should be easy, should be not a lot of work if you have good security practices and procedures in place.
Yes. Yeah. So, assuming you are hiring in one sentence, what stands out in a candidate's resume for you?
So I'd like to see um, a, a demonstrated passion for continuous learning. Like, and like there are hints that appear as a variety of products or projects or outside activities, things like open source contributions, where you can see that the prospective candidate is passionate about doing development and learning and growing.
Okay. What advice would you give to your 25-year-old self starting in security and why?
So, what my 25-year-old self didn't have the notion of like a dedicated security anything because it was before times. But I think just continuing to learn and grow, right? Which has been my my path to where I am now. Finding interesting problems and solving them. Often the problems are related to something that's gone wrong, and often things that go wrong are security issues. And so feeding that natural curiosity and growing knowledge around a wide variety of tools and technologies has been successful for me, and I think I would highlight that for myself.
Continuous learning. All right. The last question. The one-liner quote that keeps you going.
So the a one line quote that keeps me going is, is this is from a fellow that I have a great deal of respect for, a fellow named Michael Lopp, who said that we should be, as managers, we should be unfailingly kind.
Makes sense. Thank you. Thank you so much, Gary. It was lovely to chat with you and get some of our most asked questions answered. Looking forward to connect and learn from you more from you in future.
Thank you, Peru.